So, let's talk about it. So, Willpower Instinct, chapters 4 and 5. You guys remember when in episode 0 I said that I wasn't going to talk about every single detail? Yeah, well, I keep taking all these notes, and it's like some kind of addiction with me. There's no way to get this in under 10 minutes if I talk about everything, and I think that's why episode 2 was so long. So I am going to really do just the highlights this time. If anyone happens to hop in live and has any ideas or feedback about the chapters, if they read them, then awesome. Otherwise, real quick, here's my thoughts. So I'm calling this episode 2.5. Temptation and reward. So this is essentially my highlights from chapters 4 and chapters 5. So let's talk about desire. I think dopamine is incredibly misunderstood in our culture and in popular uses of it. There's this tendency to think about it in terms of pleasure, but that's not quite accurate. So when you are operating in your life, are you seeking pleasure or avoiding discomfort? There's actually a little dopamine thing about that. We're going to get to that a little bit later. As a human, really, from my experience, my opinion, and from the thoughts of people like Brooke Castillo, I would say that, yeah, you're human. You're operating from one of those two, or a third one. That's you either want to feel good, you want to avoid discomfort, or you want to do what's efficient, what takes less effort in order to accomplish. I like to joke that if banging your head is something you're really good at, smashing your face against a wall, that's easier than not smashing your face against the wall. So for you, that's actually more efficient. So when we look at our choices, we have to remember that may be operating as well. So if you're seeking good feelings, avoiding discomfort, and doing what's efficient, there's lots of ways we can make ourselves feel better. One is moral licensing, which she talks about in chapter 4. Another is goal liberation. Another is borrowing against the future. We have this tendency to think that tomorrow is going to be better than today without any effort from us. Oh, it's okay. I'll make a better choice tomorrow. But what's going to be different about tomorrow than today if you don't take any positive action today? Also, ironically, desire causes stress. So let's talk about dopamine again real quick. We misunderstand dopamine. It's not about pleasure. People think of it as, it's the pleasure hormone or it's the pleasure chemical. No, it's the desire chemical. Dopamine gives us a craving and to drive us forward. That's the carrot. Ooh, thing I want over there. And then the longer we don't have that thing, the more anxiety we feel. So there's a part of our brain then that's like, if I don't have that, I feel stress. So this propels a lot of different behaviors. It can propel eating, it can propel mating, it can propel, etc., etc. She gives some fantastic examples in chapter 5 about people affected by dopamine and some ways you can kind of hack yourself with dopamine if you're interested. But what I think is really particularly powerful is that sometimes the anticipation of a thing is more valuable than the attaining of the thing. So the thrill of the chase, not the having, right? When people are constantly wanting new relationships or new experiences, it's not actually the new experience itself, it's the chasing after it. So what does this mean for us? Well, it essentially means that having long-term vision and identifying with our goal, not with the steps we take toward our goal, is what's critical. Because if we identify with the steps, then we can give ourselves a license like, I did something good, now I could do something bad. And the bad then sabotages the long-term goal. Not very useful, not very effective. So there's some ways that, again, she suggests around dopamine where you can give yourself little extrinsic rewards, little carrots My concern as someone who was a teacher for more than 10 years is the more extrinsic motivation you have, the less rewarding the activity that you're engaging in feels. So intrinsic motivation is the value is in the doing of the thing. The extrinsic motivation is what do I get out of doing the thing. So practicality, pragmatism wins. If you need to make your room smell like Christmas and play Christmas music so you enjoy being in the room so you can clean it, have that. For me, identifying with the larger goal is what's valuable, because then each step I feel closer and I'm anticipating the completion of the larger goal rather than just going, okay, I did a good thing, I can slack off now, or do something that counteracts and moves me backwards. So another thought about that specifically was this idea that if you are going to make a choice that's self-sabotaging, make it consciously and then force yourself to do it repeatedly. So we forget that a choice we make now has an impact on the future. So let's say you were trying to diet, this is the example she gives, and you had a craving for a chocolate bar. Well, if you tell yourself, if I eat a chocolate bar now, I have to eat one every day for the next week, that might change your choices. Then if you think, oh, it's just one chocolate bar, but then the next day you also think, oh, it's just one chocolate bar, and you have that experience every day. So this is a way to keep yourself from borrowing from the future. So the question that I have for you all, that I would like you to put in the comments, is what drives your everyday decisions? Are you driven by receiving pleasure? Are you driven by cessation of discomfort? Are you taking steps toward a larger goal? And I understand that there may be multiple, like all three might show up in your life in different ways, but what is the primary, and would you like to shift it? Maybe it's working for you. I don't know. But leave me a note. Tell me what's going on. I will end this live stream in just a minute. I look forward to doing some more experiments in the future. Expect episode 3 on Monday. I may do it this way, or I may do it just as a standard produced video. We'll see. Let me know what you like. Let me know if you like kind of this live stream format, if you might prefer something a little more edited and polished. And I will talk to you soon. I will catch you all's laters. Bye.